Dorothy Pesch, better known as Doro, has been a constant in the world of heavy metal for nearly 4 decades. The true metal queen, she's developed a career as a solo artist after 4 albums with Warlock in the 80s. In this interview, we chat about her metal history, the circumstances around her new live release, Triumph and Agony, her headline show at Sheffield Bowl, car park gigs, and some of her most memorable UK shows.
Yes, hi, it's me, Doro, and I just saw your nice picture with Mike Howe, right?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah, oh man, that was my last tour in the States in 2019, and oh man, we had such a great time. I don't know if you've seen a show. Did you see a show in 2019?
No, that's from about 3 years ago now, I think, when they played on a boat not far away from where I live in Bristol.
Okay. So you're from England, right? Okay.
Well, I'm actually from Wales, Doro. So.
Oh, okay. Hey, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, well, we are going to Sheffield on Saturday.
Yes.
And we're playing the Rockin The Bowl. Yeah. We are headlining that festival, and there are tons of cool bands. But we are there Saturday, and yeah.
Yes.
And then we are doing the Michael Schenker tour in October.
Right.
Yeah.
I was looking at your tour dates earlier on and wondering whether you were touring. But if you're doing about 4 dates over here, is that right?
I think 5. I think
right.
they added on Glasgow.
Okay.
That's the first gig. And 5.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So how are you and where are you? Are you in Germany tonight? Or are you
Yes, I'm in Germany. I just came back. We did our first festivals, and 2 weeks ago it was my first normal festival in Belgium, the Alcatraz Festival, which is a great festival. Man, I played many times on Alcatraz, but this one, it was special because it seemed like totally normal, and everybody had to get either the vaccination thing or testing or recovering, and then it was wild. It was great. And then I did some other open airs in Germany, and now going over to England. So
brilliant.
Friday.
So a little bit of normality seems to be coming back.
Yes, man. Yeah. I mean, of course, most important thing is that everybody is safe and stuff.
Yeah.
But it sure feels great. And I did all kinds of things. Like last year we did many auto kino shows, drive-in shows.
Yeah.
And this year we did beach chair open airs, which that was great too. But it was so much more work because people are so far away, and you have to fucking kill yourself to get everybody excited, but it was good practice. So we are so ready to roll, like a normal festival. That's everybody's ready.
So tell me about those drive-in shows, because that's a really weird concept, isn't it? Looking at everyone sat in their cars and things.
Yeah, actually, the first time I walked on stage, I thought, man, it's like a deja vu. It looks like the All We Are video in '87. I don't know if you ever seen it.
Yeah.
I tell you, it was like only cars. People were stuck in their cars. We did many drive-in shows. Sometimes they were allowed outside, I could see them and they were rocking out. But sometimes they were stuck in their cars. It was, depending on the city and stuff and on the rules. And then I tried, to find a way that I could really still connect with the fans, and then when I said, hey, let me see you bang your heads, then they were shaking their cars, and you could almost see cars flying, and it was really cool. And and then I said, well, let me hear when you honk your horns, and it was so loud. Was louder than our PA system, so that was cool. And I think that was the last time that the city was allowing these drive-in shows, because it was so loud and crazy. And then and I said, well, let me see, when you like put your lights on. And it was, I played a couple of really nice games, and people were totally involved. And I could hear them, sing along too, even, when I was sitting in their car. So everybody gave their best. And it was definitely cool to keep it going, to keep the band, that everybody was still could do something. And, and then when we couldn't tour and not festivals, nothing, then I went back into the studio and I thought, okay, I want to see what I can do. And then I did last year, the Best Of came out in November, the Magic Diamonds. And it wasn't planned like a big thing. I thought maybe my favorite 15 songs, and then it winded up 25, 35, 45, and then 56 songs, and I maxed out the capacity. But then I listened to all the stuff of the Triumph and Agony recordings, which we were just celebrating Triumph and Agony, but we didn't plan on recording it. It just got recorded a couple of times. And then when we couldn't tour so much anymore, then I thought, okay, I want to go back and really, see really what we have. And then I found many nice things. And Sweden Rock, that was the first concert we ever played, the entire album, and it had the most magic. We did an America tour and Spain tour and played Norway Rock and Grass Pop, but Sweden Rock was so perfectly recorded and great camera work. And then I thought, let's do it. But the CD is a combination between Spain and Sweden Rock, and the Blu-ray is only Sweden Rock concert, and then a nice documentary about how it came about, like the original Triumph and Agony, and I even put some bootleg videos on and all some cool stuff. And
I was looking on Amazon. It's very hard to get hold of it already, so obviously it's doing well. So that's great.
I think I hope that the fans like it, and I think it looks good, sounds good.
Well, it's
and all these little box sets as well, like the old school stuff, and
of course it's the album that was probably most successful for you in Warlock, with all respect. So was it very important for you to play it live at least once? The whole thing,
because I think every record was Burning the Witches, Hellbound, and True Steel. They were all leading to the Triumph and Agony album. Every record I think had great songs or special moments, but I think when we did Triumph and Agony, it was probably the best time, 87, the peak of metal, and we already we worked already to have some fans, and then the third album was actually a door opener too, because we could play the legendary Monsters of Rock festivals. This one in Castle Donington in 86, that was it. Everybody said, hey, cool show. And then we could hop on tour with Judas Priest, which was my favorite band, and it was unbelievable. And in England we did the whole tour with Wasp, and Wasp was my favorite band, so and then and then we had our first worldwide release, and I did a little promotion tour in America for 3 days, and then after 2 days I thought, I want to stay, and then I stayed, and then everything fell into place. I got hooked up with great people, really cool, and and Cozy Powell played on this album, and Joey Ballon, who was a great musician, he became the producer. We were hanging out. He was just actually supposed to show me the metal scene in New York and the record stores, which were open 24 hours. So I was totally in heaven, because in Germany, everybody, was closing at 6 o'clock, and then 24 hours. And it was wow, it was, And then we, started checking out all the clubs and stuff. But then I told Joey, hey, in Europe, it's pretty much the same. The clubs are the same. And then he said, so what shall we do? And I said, shall we do a little jam session? And we went to his apartment and we were jamming a little bit. And then I told him about all my, like wild experiences and stuff. And my first promotion tour was actually in a former East country. There was Hungary. Okay. And we were so scared. We thought we would be put in jail because we had all our Burning the Witches records in the trunk.
Yeah.
And, and I thought, oh, that's pornography. And we thought, no, that's fantasy, that's metal, that's, art. And, they took every record away, and they were very serious, and we thought, oh God. And then, and then this promotion tour never happened. We went into the country, but no record, nothing. And then, and I told Joey about it, and he was like fascinated, because in America, when you're born in America, you are always, you're pretty free. You can say what you want. You can go wherever you want. I said, no, in Europe, back in the days, and in the 80s, I said, man, it's totally different, and then we wrote our first song the first day. It was East Meets West. When East Meets West is going to be a hell of a mess. And and I had so much good energy, and I walked up to my manager. He was he was an American citizen, but he was born in Switzerland, so he could speak German as well, and I couldn't speak English that well at all. So it was perfect. And I told him, hey, we wrote a nice song. And he said, wow, I love it. He said, hey, why don't you guys go on, do more stuff? Yeah, and then we did more and more and more songs. And then we had 3 songs, actually, East Meets West, 3-Minute Warning. And Joey was playing, or he was showing me all kinds of things. And he was a little bit older than me. And I was a very, rebellious teenager and interested in everything. And then he said, do you know about the Ouija board? And I said, oh, I think that's totally forbidden in Germany. I think it was at the time. That's what I heard. He said, you want to play it? You want to check it out? And I said, oh, yes, anything that's forbidden, that's even more attractive. So we played the Ouija board many, many times. And in the end, it winded up that we had to move out of that apartment because it was filled with really weird dark energy, and the apartment almost burned down. But before all that happened, I asked Joey if he can ask the spirit or whatever it is, if it has a message for me. And then it came back, Doro, make time for love. And then we thought, wow, that's another nice song. Title for ballad. Yeah. And that was our first ballad for Triumph and Agony. And then the manager, he said, well, you guys should record it for real, do a real demo, not only on your Walkman. And we went into the Power Station studio, and I didn't know that it was one of the best studios. And we had a great engineer. His name was Steve Rinkoff, and he was very young but super talented, super nice, and he became the engineer for Meatloaf and Jim Steinman, and he was really cool. And and then we recorded 3 songs, and we thought, wow, there's so much magic. And then I said, Joey, I need a real metal guitar player. And in the 80s, there was always this discussion, what is metal, what is rock, what's the difference? And I said, well, and Joey, he was a fantastic guitar player, but more rock. I said, I need metal. He said, I think I have a friend of mine, he could probably
And that's
deliver.
where you got Tommy, was
and
it?
There was Tommy Bolt, and he came in and he killed it, and had so much energy. He was on the floor, on his back, immediately sweating, bleeding, playing.
Wow.
I thought, oh, and then, it was so much good energy. And and then the whole album was done in the Power Station studio in New York and in Philadelphia, the Cajun studios. And we had great guests playing on it. Cozy Powell played on many songs, and he played Touch of Evil. There was a song, I wanted to have a song where I can really totally go off and scream and, have really, really powerful vocals. And I told my manager that I need somebody with a lot of power, and he said, oh, I think I might have a surprise for you. And next day I walked into the Power Station studio, and Cozy Powell, was there. And he said, hey, Doro, I got a phone call. You need some power. And I said, oh, my God, And I knew that he was, amazing. And then he played, and it was so awesome. And his drumsticks, they were as thick, as big as my arms,
Yeah.
and everybody was watching him play. And then the next day I went in to do my vocals for Touch of Evil, and I had so much energy, and I was listening to Cozy's power and Tommy's guitar, and I was screaming, and then suddenly lightning came into the window, like a ball of lightning came into the window. The window was closed, but there was a little tiny window in the recording room, and it came into the room, made a round and went back out the window, and everybody thought, oh my God, what kind of energy did we raise now? And then we stopped, like that night we stopped, and everybody was like scared shitless. And the next day we walked back in and listened to it, and then everybody said, you know what, we should leave that track alone. And and I said, let's leave your vocals, don't do him again, it's fine. And so it was really powerful. So all kinds of great memories were attached to the making of this album. And
so when you actually played,
so it was definitely worth to celebrate a little bit.
Yes, of course. And when you played it live, did you play it live in the order that it's come out on the album, with Touch of Evil first and All We Are at the end?
No, actually it was
or did you play it in
Blu-ray? It's exactly the way we played it, and on the CD it's exactly the way we played it, and on the vinyl it's different order because of you have to watch the time every side. And I think vinyl and cassette is a little bit different, but the CD, that's the order we played it in Sweden Rock. And actually it was impossible to do the same sequence like the original, because original starts with All We Are. We had no idea that it would be such a big song for us. And and everybody sings along, so you it's impossible to open up with All We Are. You can't go anywhere, so
it's
so
the ideal last song, isn't it?
Absolutely. And and then I thought, starting out with Touch of Evil, it's a little bit mystical and vibey and then powerful, and then doing all these other songs, and and we rehearsed it, and then we played it live. We thought, works pretty good, works really nice, and even though we did many shows and many the Spain tour and America tour, but the Sweden Rock had so much magic, and probably because it was the first time we did play the whole album. There's something about doing something for the first time. Sometimes it carries a magic you can never really repeat or even make it better. Like the same with vocals. When I go into the studio and I sing, usually the first take is it. And then hopefully it's recorded. Sometimes, I think, oh man, that was so great. And then the engineer said, no, I was just doing sound check. And, but now all the engineers, they know they have to record whatever pops out. And I always do it again and again. And of course I want to do it better and better. But usually we go back to the first take. It's there's the certain, certain
energy at the start.
So I was just I was thinking about the sequence and whatever would feel good, and then we did it, and it worked out. It did work out pretty good.
I've got to ask you the other ballad for Immer, which is one of my favourite songs that you've ever done. The recording on the Sweden Rocks, the live album. I was listening to it and the hairs were standing up on my arm. So what was it like when you were doing that? Because, of course, the crowd are absolutely singing along with you, and it's such a lovely, emotional ballad. So what was it like for that? You must have been your heart must have been racing.
Yes. And I tell you, I want to tell you two stories about that song. The first one from 1987, we were... when we were doing this album, we really felt good. We thought, man, it could be. We didn't know that it would be big and stuff, but we felt really good. So everything was almost done. We were mixing the last things and stuff, and we had 9 songs, and then we thought, yeah, that's the album, that's great. All We Are was like, like pretty clear that would be the first single because it had so good energy. Many people were singing on it, all our friends, and even people we asked on the streets if they would come up and sing the backgrounds, and like the American guys, they were so good. I said, what? Can I record on a record? And we said, yeah, I'm coming up, and we had some beers and stuff, so it was a great atmosphere. Amazing. And you could really feel this could be a good song or maybe a single. So album was almost done, and then like usually when something is like ending, like a tour or recording, then you can get a little down, a little sad, because you don't even know what to do with yourself anymore. It's like, so everything was so intense and so important and so passionate, and then when something stops, it's really weird. So Joey and me, we were sitting in the apartment, and then he said, what do you want to do? Would you like to have dinner? And no. Would you like to go to the movies? No. He said, would you like to write another song? And I said, oh yeah, let's write another song. And he said, well, we don't have to put it on the record. We just do it, just for fun. And I thought, oh, that's cool. And he said, what kind of song would you like to write? And I said, Joey, honestly, I would like to write the most brutal, aggressive, fastest motherfucking song in the whole wide world. He said, oh really? He said, okay. So we started, and out came Für immer, the first German song, the first real like special like kind of ballad. And then it was so weird, and it was the first time that I sang German, and he didn't speak German and stuff. He said, are you sure you know what you're singing? I said, yeah, man, you can trust me, I'm sure. And when we recorded it, the engineer, they said, hey, can you do the composite? Usually we recorded a few takes, and then we kind of like put together the nicest chorus or the nicest verse or bridge. And then I said, yeah, I can do it. You can trust me. And I said, I need a Spanish sentence, because we toured with Judas Priest in '86, and that was my first time in Spain. And that was the first time that I learned about the mentality of like the metalheads, like in Spain, similar to South America. So I need like a Spanish sentence. And I found somebody in the studio. He was tweaking the Marshall amps, and he was from South America, and I tried to explain like what the song is all about. He didn't speak English, he didn't speak German, but he gave me the sentence, hay una promesa en el sonido. And I said, what is it? But he couldn't make me understand what it is. But later on I found out it was perfect. It means there is a promise in the song, and the promise is deep inside my heart, forever. So that was perfect. So we recorded it, and then we really felt it had magic. We loved it so much. Like everybody who listened to it, like all the musicians involved, everybody was like, like flipping over it. And then we delivered the whole album, and, and the record company was really pleased and happy. And I said, we will support you guys, and, it's awesome. And All We Are should be the first single, and we will do a video. And they said, but one song has to be taken off the record. And I thought, oh no. And I thought maybe Metal Tango, because it's so different, like tango with metal guitars. And I said, no, the German song, that needs to go. And I thought, no way. And I said, no, you can't do it. It's like, it's you can't sing German, and it's not metal. It's like so different. It's so special, or like so weird. And I thought, no, I need to have it on the record. I feel the magic. And so we had many big discussions. And when I was young, I was probably not very diplomatic, probably screaming and throwing things, and and then everybody was getting probably scared, like okay, before we all get killed, let's put the song on the record, last like vinyl side. And they were hoping nobody would ever listen to it. And then we hopped on tour with Ronnie James Dio, my favorite singer, and it was an awesome tour. And it became so clear that Für immer and All We Are, they were like the two songs which people loved the most. And then after a couple of months, we hopped on tour in the States with Megadeth, and then I got a phone call from the record company and said, hey, we need to do a second single and stuff, and I thought, okay, which song? Für immer. I thought, you must be kidding. Für immer, even for England, America, France, everywhere, yeah, it needs to be Für immer. And then I said, wasn't there a discussion that we wanted to take the song off the record, or you guys thought it should be better, like not being on this record? And nobody could remember.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay. So we did the second video was Für immer, and we did it in Louisiana. It was the first time that I was in Louisiana. I felt it all looked like in this movie Angel Heart with Mickey Rourke. It was all really spooky, and it was awesome. It was great. Yeah, then I played Für immer and We Are every single concert, every single day, every single festival. And one time I was in St. Paul in America on tour, and I played Für immer, and everybody was singing along. And then there is this middle part before I sing the Spanish sentence.
Yeah.
And this middle part, and then suddenly the crowd was singing something. And I thought, oh my God, that is so awesome. And my drummer, Johnny D, he was actually filming it. And I thought, that sounds so great. And that's what you can hear on this album, because it was something the fans made up this melody. And actually, I met a couple of them fans after the gig. I said, hey, what was that? And I said, well, we wanted to surprise you. We made up this melody, and we thought that's really metal. And I thought, oh my God, that is so metal. That is so great. You were thinking of something, to put in that song. And unfortunately, I never knew the names of the, metalheads. But now this is a part in Für immer when everybody sings the oh, and, and sometimes people love to sing it. Sometimes it's really long, it depends on the crowd. It depends, if they heard it before. But that always gives me chills. But it was made up by the fans, and that's what I personally, of course, love the most.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Brilliant. Before we finish, I must ask you about 3 of the shows that I've seen you in the UK at. So the first one was Monsters of Rock in 1986.
No way.
Yep, I'm old enough to do that.
You saw it?
I was there for that.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so I can remember seeing you at the time and thinking, wow, we've got a female singer for a start, because you didn't get many metal female singers back in the day. So you were, and obviously that was your first UK show, I think, wasn't it?
No, we played a couple of shows before. We did the Marquee Club a couple of times, and we did these awesome TV shows. I think ATC.
ECT, yeah, ETC, I think it was called.
Yeah.
ECT.
What was it called?
Yeah. ECT, I think.
ECT, ECT. The stage almost collapsed because they had so much pyrotechnics and fireworks, and then suddenly one side of the stage collapsed, and we were all like, wow, shocked. And it was so awesome. So it was a big show, and and I think one day before we did Marquee, or one day later. So we did a couple of shows in the UK, but Monsters of Rock Festival, we didn't know that it was such a big festival. And there was no way you could find out, no internet, no cell phones,
of course.
And then we went to see the stage, and I tell you, I was like, my knees were like pudding. It was unfucking believable. And it was like the stage was so high up, and every step I thought, oh my god, and I can't do it. And then when you're on stage, you have to do it, and then everything was cool, and all the fans were like into it and headbanging, and wow, and that was great. And then I guess
and it rained that day, and then the second show I wanted to just remind you about was the Steelhouse Festival in 2015, where it had rained all weekend, and I believe that you were carried across to the stage. Is that right? There's a story.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Oh, that's right. Yeah. And later on, I found out, I don't know if it's true, but, some fans, they said, man, you were the only one on the catwalk. All the other singers, they were like standing in the back because they don't want to get, their hair wet and stuff. And it was so much fun. And that's true. I got carried to the stage and somebody shot a photo, and then I wrote a song about it, and the title is Strong Man's Arms.
Ah, right, I know that.
And we even recorded it, but we thought, oh man, there's sometimes so many songs you record, and then you have to make a choice, which song makes the album and which song. But this one we actually recorded, and I thought, yeah, man, it's such a cool song.
Yeah.
The memories are so great, and it felt so good. I felt like $1,000,000. It was so cool, and all these guys who were working there, they were like so, so tough and so passionate about, doing this festival. It was awesome, and I remember that.
Yeah, that's
if you ever see the song on a record,
I know what it's about now.
Where it came from.
And that's the festival that is in Wales. So it's literally 25 minutes from where I live. So I was there for that. So. Brilliant. Cool.
So you didn't mind the rain, and it was cold.
We always mind the rain, but we just have to live with it, don't we? So.
Yeah. The open air festivals I just did here in Germany. It was in the north, like close to Hamburg.
Yeah.
I tell you, it was freezing. It was freezing cold when we started at 8. It was cold, and then when we finished at 10, it was like I thought I couldn't feel my fingers anymore. I thought my fingers were, they were really frozen. That's summer in Germany. Sometimes it's like, oh man. But I heard that the weather will be probably not too good in Sheffield.
In Sheffield, no, it's
on Saturday.
It's a shame because it's been absolutely boiling here today. So I think it's going to change tomorrow, which is typical.
Yeah.
And just very quickly, the last time that I saw you was headlining the tent in Bloodstock in 2018.
That was right after the Judas Priest.
That's
show,
right.
I think. Or it was at the same time.
Yeah.
That, when they were finished, and some fans walked over. Oh yeah. Oh, I loved it.
It was a great show.
Bloodstock, right?
Bloodstock.
Right?
Yeah.
Bloodstock. Yeah. Oh yeah, I would love to play there again. Oh yeah.
I'm sure you will. Yeah.
That was Tommy was with us.
That's right. Yeah. I remember it.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
That was cool. I love playing England. I always have, and I always will. It means so much to me because I was heavily inspired by the new wave of British heavy metal and by all these great bands and Priest and Saxon and everybody, and it means so much to me. And it was like, being from Germany, always had to prove yourself in England to even get a worldwide record release. That was very, very important. And, and then sometimes people said, no, not yet. Like, what? Oh, no. So it was tough. But then, when suddenly everything was pretty good and positive, and I said, you get a worldwide record release with True Steel, and then Triumph and Agony was no more a big deal, and then the tour with Wasp, that was awesome too. I don't know if you've seen the gig. That was so cool. We just came off the Judas Priest tour, and we hopped on tour with Wasp one day later, and I was so sick. I was sick as a dog, and because I was always walking on the ice when we played with Priest. We finished in Scandinavia.
Yeah.
And I was always watching the Priest soundcheck, and the tour manager and road crew, everybody said, hey, you little girl, you shouldn't walk on the ice, or you shouldn't stand on the ice, you might get sick. And I said, no way, I'm a metalhead, and I'm, strong as steel, no way, I will not get sick. And then I got so sick, I probably had totally pneumonia, and and then we went to England, and we played the smaller club, or the clubs. With Priest, it was the big, stadiums and stuff. And And in the clubs, there were usually only one dressing room. And that was, of course, for the headliner. And so the first night I was there, I was sitting in a staircase, like on a stairway. It was cold. It was windy. I was like having like fever, and I was really feeling like so ill. And then Blackie Lawless, he came up. He said, "Hi, Doro, are you guys from the support band?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, you look really like sick." And I said, "Oh, I'm totally sick." And he said, "Oh, wait a minute." And then he went up to his band members and he said, "Hey, guys, you know what? The singer of the support band is so sick, it's Doro, and let her rest a little bit, And then he said, "Well, you can have our dressing room."
Wow.
And he said, "You can, relax, lay down on the couch, take a nap." And then he gave me all kinds of medicine and magic potions, and fruit juice, and I couldn't believe it, and I thought, wow. And then he said, "Well, I let you rest and I will wake you up when it's time for you to get ready." And I woke up and I felt so strong and good. And then we started the tour with Wasp in England. And and that was like a memory. I think he will probably not even remember that at all. Flawless, but I remember it for life. So he saved our tour. He saved my life, and it was so cool, and it was great tour. It was a great tour, and but being a support band, it was very interesting.
Yes,
it was a
I'm
total
sure.
Adventure because Blackie decided to do a tour without the blood. Usually they always had like the blood and stuff, and the fans, they were hoping to see that. And then some of the fans, they were going to the butcher stores and
that's right,
and buying all these things and liver and blood, and and it was a lot of fun because I was the support act, and then they were throwing stuff and I was covered in blood, and I thought, wow, it's so metal, and it was like the culture was still there that, when you were spitting on a band, that you would show appreciation. Which at first I wasn't sure if that was what it was, but it was like still like, I guess it was, came from the punk culture.
Yes,
it was a cool
course.
thing to do.
Yeah.
And so I was covered every single night, almost every single night I was covered in spit and blood. And I thought, oh man, it's very metal. It's very heavy metal. I loved it. And so it was a time without COVID, no AIDS. So so you could enjoy it now. It would
absolutely.
be not so cool, but
brilliant.
But there was great memories. And,
Have you ever thought about writing a book?
One time, like many years ago, I started actually, and then I couldn't handle it because it was like I couldn't sleep at night anymore, and it was like so, oh god, no. And then I thought, eventually, whatever, in 50 years I will write 2 books. One book which immediately will be on the index. I know that, I will tell all the truth. And then one book, which is like, like easy listening, for normal people. But it was like sometimes so hardcore, and when I was thinking about all that, then I thought, oh, nah, it's like, it was too heavy, because people only know the good things and and how good it looks in the magazines or the photos, but it was like, oh man, it was like definitely when there's a lot of light, there's a lot of shadow, and it definitely was like people almost killing each other. So I thought, oh no, I don't even want to think about it. It's like when you think about maybe your ex-wife, and no, you don't want to think too much about it. You just want to move on.
That's the truth.
So it's like like if I mean I don't know how it is. I was never married, but I can imagine it's like when you have like maybe a bad divorce, that it's like better to not think too much about it. So it was like lots of things happened, and when I started, I was talking to a journalist, and then he said, and then I write it down, then you can read it. I don't know. While I was reading, I thought, no. I immediately called him up. I said, no book, no, I can't, no. He said, why? And I said, no, because it's too heavy. It's too heavy for me, and I can't live with it, and and he said, yeah, it's very interesting. And I said, yeah, that might be, but for me,
well,
I don't want to fucking kill myself. It's like just because it's entertaining.
Yeah, maybe some of those demons are better kept in the locker.
So it was too heavy.
Yeah. It's
and I rather want to concentrate on good stuff, on positive, on another record, on new song, another tour, something really good.
Brilliant.
And yeah.
It's I know I think you've got one more interview after this, so I'll let you go, but it's been amazing to talk to you. It's been a long time since I first saw you, and it's been great to actually catch up.
Yes, and that you saw the Monsters of Rock '86. That was one of the biggest days in my life. I didn't know it at that time, but it really was.
Yeah.
It really was. And Lemmy was there, and then he said, Doro, I'm so proud of you. And I said, oh, really? He said, yeah, because you were standing on the catwalk, and when people were throwing mud, you were still standing.
Yeah,
he said, I think that's really cool. And I thought, oh, yeah. It was really painful, but I thought, yeah, I can't walk off. And I think Motorhead, they walked off because people threw like mud and firecrackers, and Lemmy, I think he got really pissed off.
I think he did at one point.
It was the 80s. Yeah. But it was like, there was like, I guess when one guy starts throwing mud, and it was like, I think the acre was like, it felt like stones. Like, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
The mud was like, I think pretty dry. I guess we played before it rained or something. And man, it was like, that was tough. And I thought, okay. But I thought it was metal. I sometimes I enjoyed it big times, like all these weird things, and people can't relate to that anymore.
No.
Like, even when I tell you the Wasp tour with the Spit and Blood, and sometimes when I would tell people, they don't understand, but I think you understand. It's
we were there. We were there.
The good old days.
Indeed.
Yeah.
You have a great show on Saturday. I'm sure it'll be brilliant. I think it'll be brilliant.
Yes, we will. Yeah, I would give it 110%.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you keep up to date with future episodes by subscribing to our channels. For more information on this podcast, or for all the latest music news, reviews, interviews and more, head over to our website, www.therazorsedge.rocks.